Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Rob, and this is Shuffle and Repeat. Thanks for being here. On our episode today, we are talking High Horse Heaven, the seventh studio album by Emarosa. If you're familiar with this band, they need no introduction. This band's been through several member changes, lineup changes, and even a change in sound. Ever since 2019, they've been pursuing this alternative 80s pop rock inspired theme. And this here is my first introduction into anything about the band. I've actually not listened to anything prior to this album. Everything I've mentioned so far is just what I've been able to go ahead and scour. So I had to go ahead and do some research. Want to make sure that I knew a little bit about what I was getting into so that way I can let people know why this record's worth listening to. E.R. White has been a guitarist in the band since its inception back in 2006. He's seen everything from one sound to another, from members to members getting kicked out. Ever since 2013, though, we've had vocalist Bradley Walden as a member of this band. Bradley has been involved with a couple of bands prior to this, including That Was Something, later named The Boys of Summer, and Squid the Whale. He actually left the band Squid the Whale to join Emarosa and help create the current iteration that we now have to celebrate this record today. High Horse Heaven, I mentioned, is the seventh record from Emarosa, is the second record on Out of Line Records, the label that Emarosa is a part of. Out of Line Records hosts several artists of the rock and metal genre, bands like Till Lindemann, Bing as an Ocean, True North, Dream Demon, Hand of Juno. And that's just to name a couple that are a part of this group. In comes producer Courtney Ballard. Courtney has been a producer, writer, and recording engineer for many, many years. And if you're not familiar with his name, you honestly should be. He's helped out with bands like 5 Seconds of Summer, All Time Low, The Used, State Champs, Grayscale, Stand Atlantic, Hollywood Undead, and even Good Charlotte. He's been around the block a little bit. Co-producing some of the songs on this record is Stefano Pigliapoco. He has helped write songs for artists such as Chris Brown, Daisy Grenade, Grayscale, State Champs, and even the Kid Leroy, just to name a couple. Emarosa's got some pretty good name producers helping out with this record. Helping production is Alan Lewis and Jared Poitras. Recording is brought to you by Mike Cervantes of Foxborough Studio. Anyone familiar with Mike's work in the mastering world knows that he's helped out with Walker Hayes, Toby Mack, Luke Bryan, Brandon Lake, Lecrae, Forrest Frank, Phil Wickham, Kane Brown, Lauren Daigle, country artists, pop artists, Christian artists, any and all between. Out of Line really got some good people to work on helping make this album come together. I also want to bring to attention some of the people that helped give their own talent and time to this record. I'm going off of what we've got on the liner notes here, so allow me to go through here. We've got Dave Yaden on piano, keys, and organ. Now, for any of you that may not be familiar with Dave Yaden, he is a singer-songwriter that has helped write for bands like Pierce the Veil, Lady Antebellum, and One Republic, and has even done some of his own solo work. Don't let me forget to mention that he's also a multi-Grammy nominee and winner of multiple Grammys. On guitar, we have Izzy Fontaine. I'm not sure what parts on this record he's truly credited with. There's a couple of lead guitar parts that I would imagine is where he lies in the real credits, but it's not specified if it's him or E.R. White with particular certain parts of the lead electric guitar work, since E.R. White also helps out with the guitars on this record, being a member of the band, oddly enough. That said, Izzy's also another Grammy nominated songwriter, producer, and multi instrumentalist. One of the songs that he has had a Grammy nomination for is with Usher, of all people, in his song Please You. Izzy has also worked with bands like Tegan and Sarah, Shabuzi, LaRue, The Midnight, Glassjaw, Taking Back Sunday, Boys Like Girls. I'm noticing a theme here with this record. There's a lot of high profile, high performing artists that are helping out. This record even has a saxophone. You cannot have an 80s inspired record without some saxophone. And Barry Parme brings it on all the songs that he's a part of. I've not been able to find any information on who else Barry Parme has been a musician with, a player with, but I was able to find out that he has worked with Dave Yadin in the past, at least on some kind of performances here and there. Bass guitar is credited to Nicholas Diorio. He has worked with many artists such as Crazy Town. Fun fact, he was a touring member for Crazy Town, the same band who did the hit song Butterfly all those years ago back in the 2000s. But Diorio has also worked with Tate McRae and Doja Cat, just to name a couple. Credited with the acoustic guitars on the album is Brandon O'Shea, or Braden O'Shea, excuse me. I've not been able to find any additional information about him and who he's worked with, but Braden, your work is very much appreciated here. Let's talk about this album now. Give a look at the cover for High Horse Heaven, and I would just love to know what you think about this. We've got a man sitting on some kind of cushion seats. I'm not sure what it is, but I mentioned earlier, this is my first introduction into Emarosa, and I only even found out about this album through their social media marketing and campaign to promote this album before it came out. I was very curious on who this guy was because I was like, this is quite the outfit. This can't be something that's like modern. It turns out it's not. The person on the front of the record is Bradley Walden's grandfather. His grandfather was a professional wrestler, and his name is Speedy Bobster Post. And there's actually a great reason as to why his grandfather is the album artwork. It ties back into the theme of this entire record, which singer Bradley Walden notes as a soft intensity. You give this album a listen from start to finish, every single song has that layered in there, whether it's the instrumentation, whether it's the lyrics, whether it's Bradley's vocals themselves. It goes even further than that. The very, very first song on this record is called The Edge, and it's actually the lead single that was promoted for this album. The very start of this song includes a quote from renowned WWE Hall of Famer Scott Hall. Many of you might know him as Razor Ramon, if we've got any wrestling fans in the house. In 2014, Scott Hall gave in his introductory speech for the Hall of Fame induction one quote that's been repeated many, many times. Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do. As soon as that quote's finished, we bring in some synth, and Bradley comes in with some soft vocals starting the first line of the song. The heroes on the website lied. This song, in my personal opinion, screams that theme of the album that Bradley talks about, soft intensity. There's a very, very just melancholy feel to the progression of this song, the lyrics, the whole entire thing. In my opinion, this might be Bradley's best vocal work on the entire album. His vocals are quite the highlight, in my opinion, of this entire thing. I cannot get over several of the vocal lines that come through not only this song, but the rest of the record too. Next song on the list is Cherry Coke. This was actually the second single released for this album too. It's a very, very poppy 80s inspired song. One of the just quintessential 80s sounding guitars that are across this record. This is actually one of the ones that Stefano Pigliapoco helped co-produce. So if you like it, make sure to give some praise. The big, big single that comes from this record is Good Enough. And that's actually the third single from this record and the third one that's on the album. In my opinion, this might be the catchiest song on the record. That 80s synth is so nostalgic. At the same time, it feels modern. It does not feel dated. And Bradley's vocals, again, are just another highlight about this. One of the big things with this song is, in my opinion, the guitar work that's done. So I've either got credits Izzy or ER for the lead work that comes at the end of the song. It is spectacular. Nothing shredding, nothing overplaying, just great 80s inspired lead guitar licks, which, as someone that loves all the glam bands from the 80s, it's such a highlight on this record. The next song that comes up on this album is Give It Away. Lyrically, Bradley says that this is a song about moving on and not letting negativity get to you. It might be the fastest tempo song on the album. It's another really good one. Once that song's over, we've got Automatic, a very, very electronic song. Um, it's just such a good vibe to have on in the background. And to know that it's on this album with it, you would think it doesn't fit in, but it does. It's such a good song. Anyone that knows Emarosa may know that this song is considered to be like an extension of XO from their 2019 release Peach Club. Bradley mentioned this in several of his TikToks over the band's social media. If you've got any curiosity about some of the other song meanings, definitely go ahead and check out their social media pages. Bradley has done some breakdowns on many of the songs on this record. The final single on this record is Shoes, which is also produced by uh, Stefano Pigliapoco as well, or co-produced, excuse me. Once again, the 80s inspiration on the guitars just screams out here. With both Shoes and Cherry Coke, I've got such a M83 1975 inspired sound. Both those bands went at an angle at bringing the 80s sound of pop music into the modern era again. And both these songs do it very, very well. And Shoes is just a nice introspective look at trying to compare yourself with other people. Take a walk in my shoes. Sugarcane is another one that to me fits the whole vibe of what was going on with Give It Away, what was going on with The opening song, The Edge, very, very good song, strong melody, strong chorus. Next song is one of my favorites on the record. This is called Ride. Bradley Walden says they wanted to make a song that was kind of like Sugar Ray. Think of the song Someday. If you know Someday, you're immediately thinking of the beach. You're immediately thinking of a nice car ride. Listening to this song Ride, I get the exact same vibe. I can sit here and listen to the song on repeat. There's just something that's so melancholy about this song, and you can just get lost in it. Let it just take you away. Another one of my favorite songs on this record is only because I found out the meaning of the song and who it was written for. Second to last song on this record is Moon and Back. This song, singer Bradley Walden wrote for his son, who was recently born. The song's all about unconditional love, loving someone to the moon and back. The soft 80s pop ballad is strong on this record, and I'll be honest, I can't help but feel a little something when I listen to this song. We're finally at the close. Never mind. This, in my opinion, is such a great end to the album. And we finally get to hear Barry Parme come out on the saxophone, and it is so good. Just think about the final words on this record here. It's time to let it go, taking a toll. I need something else. It's time to let it go. This may not be the Emarosa you started with, but I've got to be honest. If this is what I first heard from Emarosa with no other context, I gotta recommend it. This is such a good album, and this is an early contender for me for my album of the year of 2026. If you've not given Emarosa a listen before, I highly recommend that you go ahead and take some time out of your day to give this a listen. My name is Rob, and this is Shuffle and Repeat. Thanks for listening.